Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's look is totally dedicated to these two versions of Wonder Woman, the Glam and the Gory. So if you're interested in learning how to recreate this for Halloween or any other special party or occasion, then keep on watching. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to watch this video in Spanish, just click the link down below. So let's get started with our eyebrows. I am using this Browfection pencil eyebrow filler from European Wax Center, and it is a little darker than I normally would use, but that's because I really wanted my eyebrows to be a little bit more pronounced for this look since it is pop art. So I'm thinking, a little bit more exaggerated, and I like to start filling them in by first drawing out a line under the eyebrow, really marking out the shape, and doing the same thing over the eyebrow. Once we have that eyebrow shape, I can go ahead and start filling them in, and I always start on the tail of the brow because I think that's what should be the darkest, and each time that I fill in a section of the brow, I turn it around and use the spoolie side to brush out the color, make sure it's nice and blended, and then I finish it off by lightly shading the front part of the brow, and I'm going to repeat those steps on the other brow. I then like to take a concealer, and this one is from Urban Decay. It is very full coverage, and I use the shade Light Neutral, I believe, either Light Neutral or Light Warm. I don't remember off the top of my head. And I just use a flat concealer brush to apply it to the under part of my brow, as you can see, and I'm also going to carve out the top part of my eyebrow, and this is basically going to really give us a nice brow shape, and it's also going to make them a little bit more perfect looking for that pop art look that I'm doing. The same concealer is going to be used over the rest of my eyelid as a primer. I'm taking this Coral Obsessed mini palette from Huda Beauty, and that's what I'm going to use for my eyeshadow, and I'm first applying that really light beige shade as a transition color into my crease, and even if you don't see it on camera, trust me, it is absolutely necessary. I'm moving on to a more peachy tone, and this peachy tone is going to go over the exact same spot, aka the crease, because this is what's going to be the first color that you will actually see, and it's important to have transition shades just to make sure all the shades are nice and blended. So we are going to create a cut crease with that same concealer that I used to prime my eyelids, and if you guys don't know how to create a cut crease, feel free to watch my semi-cut crease tutorial, which basically teaches you the technique that you need, but this is a complete cut crease, as you can see. I'm really only creating a cut crease so that the other shades I apply later on with the shadow really pop and come out extremely pigmented. Now I'm taking an angled brush like this one and applying that peachy tone, as you can see, right over my crease, and that's really going to accentuate the crease and deepen it up. Taking a packing brush like this one, I'm going to apply that red tone on the outer portion of my eyelid, and I'm making sure to stay only on where I put the concealer, okay? This does not go anywhere near the crease. This is simply going on the parts that you see right over here. Taking this E58 brush from Sigma, I'm going to apply this yellow shade to the inner part of my eyelid, again, only where the concealer is, and I'm taking it all the way to like the middle where it meshes with that red to make sure that it really blends. For top eyeliner, I'm using this Superstay liquid eyeliner from Wonder 2. It's honestly not my fave just because the applicator is a little thick, but it gets the job done, and it really does dry pretty nicely once you apply it. And as you can see, I'm creating a pretty dramatic cat eye. For a little touch of glam on the eyes, I'm taking this gold liquid eyeliner, which is really like on a felt tip, and it's also from Wonder 2, and I'm applying it right where that cut crease point is. At this point, I'm taking a makeup wipe and just cleaning up that excess red eyeshadow, and we're moving on to the skin. For moisturizer, I'm taking this water cream from Tatcha that I got at the Makeup by Mario class, and I really like how it feels on the skin. The only thing I don't like is the fragrance. Now I'm using this illuminizing primer from Dr. Brandt and applying it all over my face. If you have large pores, I would use a more pore filling primer, although that's what this one claims that it does, but it did the trick. For foundation, I'm using this Wonder 2 Last and Foundation in the shade 20, and I just realized I'm using so many Wonder 2 products, and no, this video is not sponsored by them, but I genuinely just have a lot of their products with me. And once I blended that out, I'm taking the Urban Decay concealer that I used at the beginning of the video to prime my eyes, and I'm just applying it in all the highlighted points of my face, and obviously using it as concealer as well, and blending it out with a damp beauty sponge from Aesthetica Cosmetics. For cream contour, I'm using this L'Oreal Shape Stick from the Infallible Pro collection, and it's in shade 410, and I'm basically contouring the shiz out of my face. I want this look to look super extra and glam. And then, of course, I'm just blending it out. As you can see, it is a super basic contour. You can find contour videos, more detailed contour videos on YouTube, so I didn't think I had to spend so much time explaining it. Once the contour is blended out, I'm taking a little bit of concealer with a flat concealer brush and just highlighting the bridge of my nose a little bit. I did a little baking off camera with some translucent powder, and now I'm hopping into this contour and highlight powder kit from NYX and taking this banana shade and basically using it to wipe off that white residue of powder that I have. And this is a great trick to do if you want to prevent flashback. I'm taking this powder from L'Oreal in the shade 22 to set the rest of my face, because even though we didn't bake, we still need to set everything, and I really only baked the parts that were necessary. Now it's time to bronze up my paleness, and I'm taking these two shades from the powder contour kit from NYX and basically bronzing the shiz out of my face. I really want to make sure I have a strong and visible contour for this look. I'm not going to use blush, but I am going to use highlighter. So I'm hopping into this highlighter trio from Sophie Cosmetics, and I'm taking the gold and the reddish highlighter shades and applying them over all the areas that I want to shine to the stars. And you guys know I love my highlighter. So I'm highlighting my cupid's bow, my cheekbones, my nose, top of my eyebrows, even the brow bone, and the inner corners of my eyes. I'm taking this red shadow from the Huda Beauty mini palette, and I'm using it to smoke out the waterline, and in the inner portion of the waterline I'm just going to take the yellow shade instead, because I want the inner portion of my eye to be a little bit lighter and then the outer portion to be the one to have more of an impact. And side note, I wanted to point out that the entire time I was off center, and it's really bothering me now that I'm looking back at the video. But anyway, for lips, I'm taking this red shade from L'Oreal, which I love. I wore this the other day and it literally lasted me for more than 12 hours. It's amazing. And by the way, guys, the shade is number 368. I think that it's the perfect bright red. It's not too dark and it's not too orangey. It is kind of like a bluish undertone red. And this is a little trick that I do to prevent red lipstick getting on your teeth, because I am so guilty of that, and trust me, it works. So now for the fun part, I'm going to use the Morphe 39A palette and pick up this black shade and start to draw the mask that goes on top of, well, it's not really a mask. It's kind of like a headpiece, I guess, that Wonder Woman wears. But basically, I am just drawing it over my eyebrows, and later on, I'm going to draw it over with paint. I didn't have any gold paint on me, so instead I'm using the gold highlighter from Huda Beauty 3D highlighter palette, and I'm applying it with my fingers because that is the best way to get the pigment. And boom, there we go. I also added a little bit on top of my lips, and now I'm taking this Too Faced gold highlighter and just dusting it all over my forehead. For this next step, I'm going to be taking these water-activated paints from Maron, and first I'm taking the black paint and just re-outlining the mask that I did, making sure that it really stands out on my face. Also going to be using this black paint to create the rest of the pop art details, and that being outlining around my lips, which I totally didn't even notice I wasn't showing you guys on camera. I was using the mirror that came with this paint palette, and I realized that, yeah, I was not filming that part, but it was too late. But anyway, you kind of get the message. This is basically what I was doing. I added the black paint over my chin. I just made a little line, and then I also used it around my cheekbones to create a more pronounced. And I'm using Nikki Tutorial's makeup look for Wonder Woman from a year ago as inspo for this look, but you guys can pretty much create the lines as you please. I did decide to go ahead and put a few little paint strokes through my eyebrows to make them pop out a little bit more. I also did some nose contour, and then I went ahead and added a few strokes down my neck and my clavicle bones just to make them pop out even more. And then I did it around my jaw area as well, just to make everything super chiseled and pop arty. So now for the highlights, I'm going to take that white paint and basically put on the opposite side of the black lines. I'm also going to put a little bit on the inner corner of my eyes and under that black line on my chin. At this point, I noticed that my lips were a little too black, so I went ahead and added a little bit more of that red liquid lipstick and blended it out with my fingers, and then added some more white highlights around my lips to make them look more like a pop art version. And the highlight portion of this makeup look with the paint is really ideal because it's what's really going to make the look more 3D and more pop art like. If you don't have a paint, you can also use a white liquid liner. And as you can see, I'm also putting it over the lines of my contour. Now I'm taking that same L'Oreal lipstick and drawing in a star. I did speed up this portion because it took me about 2 full minutes to create the star. If it takes you guys longer, don't worry. It's really, not that big of a deal. Just make sure that you do plan for it because you need to have a lot of patience. I applied some mascara and lashes off camera, and this is the finished result. If you guys want to keep it as a glam Wonder Woman look, you can stop right here, but if you want to take it up a notch and make it a little bit more gory for Halloween, then just keep watching the tutorial. So you're going to need 3 things: some tissue paper or toilet paper, some liquid latex, and some fake blood that you could get at your party store. First, cut up a piece that is going to go over your contour line, and it's going to be somewhat this thick, and I made sure to measure it just to make sure that I cut it up to fit precisely. So now you can begin to apply some of that liquid latex over the area that you're going to put the paper on, and I like to use a Q-tip for this part, but you could also use a brush that you don't mind ruining because honestly, liquid latex is super sticky, and if you use a regular makeup brush, you are going to ruin it. Just warning you. You're going to want to add another layer over the tissue paper just to make sure that it's glued down. And once you finish this step, make sure that you let it dry and repeat it in all the other parts that you want to put the gory cuts on your face. And so I'm going to do that over the star and over a portion of my neck. And this part does take a lot of patience and time, but I did speed it up just for the purpose of this video because if I would have left it at the time that it actually took me, it would have been way too long, just so you guys know. Plan ahead. Once your liquid latex is dry, go ahead and take the same foundation that you originally applied, and with a beauty sponge, you can go ahead and apply it over the cuts, and this is going to really make it look like skin. Make sure to take the same powder that you used and set that foundation that you just applied because you don't want it to get mixed up with the other colors that you're going to use throughout the look. And for this specific part of my face, I'm going to take the same bronzer shades that I used and go over that contour line just to make sure that the colors all blend together to make sure it looks like my skin. Now with some scissors, I'm going to very, very carefully poke a hole into that fake cut and start to cut them up. And this is going to give the illusion that my skin is lifted and that there is an actual cut on my face and on my neck. With that Huda Beauty mini palette, I'm going to take the red and I'm going to apply that on the innermost portion of the cut because that is going to mimic the blood. And if it gets a little bit on the outer portion of the cut, it's totally fine because we want it to look a little bit messy. We're not trying to look perfect here. Now I'm going to take the black and red paints from the Maron palette and begin to do the exact same thing but with a way thinner brush and really trying to stick to that inner part of the cut. And this is going to give the cut some more depth as well and making it super gory. If you guys don't have paints, you can also use a red lipstick and a black eyeshadow. And I'm only going over the outer part of this just to mimic the lines that I did cover up that I created beforehand for the pop art look. But if you're not going to do a pop art look and you are going to make these cuts, then don't go outside of the tissue paper that you applied. Now I'm taking that L'Oreal red lipstick again with a tiny stippling brush, and I'm going to start stippling some little blood splatters everywhere. I'm mainly focusing it around the area of the cuts, but you guys are totally welcome to do it on other areas of your face and even on your hands if you want some more battle wounds. And this again is going to make it look a lot more natural. Take your time with this, guys. This part of the look does take a little bit longer, so just make sure that you plan ahead and that you have enough time. But now we're going to move on to the actual fake blood, and this is what's really going to bring those fake cuts to life. This is like a clotted blood, so because of that, I'm going to focus it on the inner portion of the cuts more, and then later I'm going to take my finger and spread out a little bit so that it looks like the rest of my face is a little bit messy and bloody. Alright guys, well this is the finished look. I'm so happy that I was able to bring you 2 looks in one video. If you recreate it, please tag me on my social media accounts, which you can find linked below. Let me know which of the 2 looks you liked the most in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to watch the rest of my videos. Bye bye guys, until next time.